Hi everyone. Today we will be learning about how to find the volume of a cone. In our previous lessons we were looking at the volume of a cylinder, and we learned that to find the volume of a cylinder we just found the area of the base and then multiplied that by the height, or pi r squared times the height. We're going to apply that same knowledge for volume of a cone, except a cone is less than a full cylinder. So if you think about a cone, you know that a cone has a point. And so we're going to talk about how much of a cone, when you fill it up, fills a cylinder. All right, so to find the volume of a cone, we will be using the formula. The formula that we're going to use is very similar. The formula we're using is still the area of the base, so area of the base times the height, just like we did for a cylinder, except we're going to take 1/3 of it. So it's just 1/3 of the area of the base times the height. Or we will be looking at 1/3 times pi r squared times the height. Okay, so here we know area of a circle times the height is volume, but for the cone we're going to find 1/3 of that same cylinder, and that's all going to give us the volume. So let's go ahead and talk about what this actually looks like. So our first cone that we have happens to look like this. So we have example A. And in example A, we have a cone that looks like this. This should be dashed. There we go. And then through the middle, again, we have our diameter. And then, like normal triangles, we're going to have a right angle. And remember that the height is going to be on our right angle. Okay, so just like before when we looked at triangles, the height is on the right angle. All right, so looking at this example of a cone, we're going to go ahead and check out how to solve this problem. So our diameter is 4 meters, and the height of our cone is going to be 6 meters. So now we're going to be able to figure this out. Okay, so our first stop is the 1/3. We will always use 1/3, and we will always use 3.14 for pi. So we're going to have 1/3 times pi, or 3.14, times r squared. Well, right now we have the diameter is 4, so that means that our radius is going to be 2. So we're going to have 2 squared times this height right here, which is 6. And height is on this right angle here. So it's where the point of the cone comes. All right, so let's go ahead and solve what we know and figure out what we don't know. So 1/3 times 3.14 times 2 times 2 is going to give us 4 and 6. All right, so when we're looking at this problem, we can go ahead and pull up our calculator so we can see how to put this into the system here. So we're going to start with 3.14. Oh, that is not 3.14. 3.14 times 4, and that gives us 12.56. We're going to multiply that by 6 and then 1/3. And then we're going to multiply this by 6, and that gives us 1/3 of 75.36. Now, if you want to look at 1/3 first, you are welcome to do that. But I personally like to look at this in this way, because now what we can do is we can multiply straight across and see that really we're just dividing by 3. So you're going to find your volume of a cylinder. So finding the area of the base times the height, and then just cut it into 1/3 or divide by 3 at the very end. So we have 75.36 divided by 3, and that's going to give us 25.12. And again, these are meters cubed because we are finding volume. So if we wanted to write out these steps before we do another problem, our first step here would be to find the area of the base or the circle. And then multiply by height. And then last but not least, we're going to divide by 3. And that gives us the volume of the cone. All right, let's go ahead and do another example. So our next example, example B, gives us a cone that has a diameter of 6 feet and a height of 9 feet. So the diameter is 6 and the height is, so example B, again, we're going to have a cone here, and this cone has a diameter of 6 feet. And then our cone is going to come up here like so, and it has a height on the right angle of 9 feet. Okay, same formula as before. We're going to find pi r squared times the height and cut all of that divided by 3. And that equals our volume. Okay. So let's go ahead and look for pi. We know that pi is 3.14. And we're going to multiply that by the radius. Well, right now my diameter is 6, which means my radius is 3. Let's move this up so you can see this. So my radius is 3 squared. And my height is right here on the right angle, which is 9 feet. So multiplying times 9 feet. And then again, once we figure all of that out, we're just going to divide it by 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve the top first. Well, we know 3 times 3, or 3 squared, is the same thing as 9. So we have 3.14 times 3 squared, which is 9, times our 9 for our height. Divide that by 3. So our total here is 9 times 9 is 81 times 3.14. And so our total on the top is 254.34, and now we just need to cut this into thirds, or divide it into 1/3. So divide by 1/3, or divide by 3, and that gives us a grand total of our volume equaling 84.78, and again we're feet, and we're going to cube. So feet cubed. All right, so to recap again, we are just taking the area of the base, so pi times r squared, area of a circle, multiplying that by the height to get area of a cylinder, and then chopping it into thirds or dividing by 3 to get a cone. And the cone, again, is because it makes this point right here. That's why it's a third, or dividing it by 3. All right, let's do one more example. In this next example, the cone is going to look a little different. You still follow the same process, but they have a cone where it looks more like kind of an interesting triangle here. So I want to look at that, and I want to make sure I draw it correctly. Okay, so in this one, they have a cone that just kind of happens to look like this. For some reason, it goes into kind of like this. So the right angle is right here, and then it goes here. So it looks more like a triangle, but this is like a right angled cone. Okay, and so this cone is still a cone. It's a cone because it has a 3D triangle at the top. So that's what makes it a cone. Think of like an ice cream cone. Okay, it goes to a point, and it's 1/3. So on this cone, we're going to look at what happens when we have a radius of 2 centimeters, and then our height, which is on the right angle here, of 7 centimeters. Okay, so 7 centimeters by 2 centimeters. Again, we're going to use that same formula. We're going to take pi r squared times the height, and we're just going to divide that by 3 to get the volume of a cone. So let's go ahead and start with 3.14, and we're going to multiply that by our radius, which is 2. Look at that. It's already found for us. We don't have to chop anything in half on this problem. And then our height, which is 7. And again, we're dividing it by 3 because cones are 1/3 of a cylinder. All right, so let's go ahead and multiply this out. 2 squared is going to be 4. So on this problem, we're going to use 3.14 like normal for pi. So there's pi, 3.14 times 4 for r squared, and that gives us 12.56. Now times the height, which is times 7. That gives us a total of 87.92, and again, we're going to cut that into by 3 for a cone, and so that gives us 87.92 divided by 3. Ooh, okay, this one gives us a really long answer. This one says 29.306667 blah, 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 and so on. So we're just going to look at the first 2 numbers here. This 6 is going to tell that hundredths place to round up. So 29.31 centimeters cubed. That is going to be our answer for the volume of this right cube. Right cylinder, sorry. Right cone. Oh my gosh, I don't know my shapes. It's a right cone, Miss Englander. All right, let's go ahead and look at our try it for today. Today they give you one try it, and in this try it you are finding the volume of a cone with a radius of 6 centimeters and a height of 15. So radius equals 6 centimeters, our height equals 15 centimeters. So I'm going to draw this cone out for you so that way you have a cone to look at. Not sure how great my cone drawings are here, but we have a radius of 6 centimeters. Height is on the right, and so that gives us 15 centimeters here. Go ahead and hit pause right now so you don't hear me solving, and then when you are ready, come on back and hit play. All right, so we have 3.14 times 6 squared. And we're going to multiply that by 15. And then again, we're going to chop all this into thirds because we are finding a cone. All right, so 3.14 and 6 squared, we know 6 squared is just 36 because 6 times 6 is going to give us 36. So 3.14 times 36, that gives us 113.04 times 15 for the height. Woo, that is a big number. So we get 1,695.6 if this were a cone, cylinder, but it's not, it's a cone. So we're going to divide by 3. Divide by 3. And that gives us a total for our cone of 565 2/10 centimeters cubed. All right. How did you do on your try it? Now go ahead and answer your essential question. How do we find the area of a cone? Put your level of understanding out to the side. Where are you at with this? I understand that I'm just finding the area of a cylinder and dividing by 3. I need more practice. I have no clue what we're doing. Where are you at with your learning? And then you may come on back to the Google Meet and ask for help if you need it, or go on and do your practice work. As always, I appreciate all of your hard work and effort, and make it a great day.